There were a few surprising calls made by Luis Enrique for the Spain squad for the Euro 2020, with Sergio Ramos' omission leading the way. It was quite notable that among all the discussion around who should and shouldn't have made the squad, there were hardly any surprise that Pedri of Barcelona had been included. This is perhaps the best indicator of just how meteoric a rise the 18-year-old has had in less than 12 months. And this analysis will be a scout report of how the 18-year-old could be a very effective player for his national team at the upcoming Euros. So before we start, make sure you are subscribed to this channel, make sure you smash that like button most importantly, and of course you can leave a comment if you have any recommendations or any feedback, but let's get started. Before looking at Pedri's role for Spain, it is instructive to have a look at the player's dashboard from last season to try and understand what he's actually good at. It is quite impressive that he ranks so high for multiple metrics despite this being his first season in the La Liga and for Barcelona. Pedri got into the box quite frequently, whilst also having a high number of deep completions, smart passes, key passes and through passes per 90. This indicates that he was involved across the build-up for Barcelona, while a percentile rank of nearly 85% of passes per 90 also shows how he was heavily involved in the play. He is also very good in terms of carrying the ball over long distances, and this is another way in which he can be a very useful tool for Enrique's Spain side at the tournament. The 18-year-old will often drop deep during Spain's build-up phase, from where he will either attempt quick first touch passes to his teammates in space or try to drive upfield with the ball himself to progress play. Here he drops to receive the ball from Laporte, and with the Portuguese player closing him down immediately, he is able to lay it off to the left back with a one-touch pass and immediately turn and spin beyond his marker to potentially receive the ball into space. Pedri is capable of affecting play without touching the ball as well. Despite just being 18 years old, he already has fantastic movement off the ball, which helps create space for both him and his teammates, and this is another trait that could be very useful for Spain at Euro 2020. In this instance, Pedri once again drops to potentially receive the ball from Laporte with a Portuguese player following him. However, when the Manchester City defender opts to play it out to the left back, Pedri immediately turns and spins him behind again, which allows him to charge into space and offer a potential passing option for the left back. This is one of the most impressive traits Pedri possesses, the ability to change direction quickly, which often leaves opposition players a step behind and enables him to move into space to receive the ball. Pedri has usually been the number 10 for Spain under Enrique, and it is likely that he will continue to be deployed there whenever he gets onto the pitch at these Euros. From this position, he tends to drift into the left half space, and it is again extremely impressive that he's already adept at finding space between the lines at such a young age. We can see how the 18-year-old receives the ball into the space between the Portuguese defence and midfield here, and he is immediately able to turn and run with the ball at the backtracking defenders. This is another trait that is quite impressive, as Pedri is able to carry the ball for quite some distance upfield, which usually also has the added benefit of drawing opposition players towards him and opening up space for teammates. And this image is the immediate aftermath of the previous one. The 18-year-old has managed to run deep into the Portugal half on the ball, drawing 3 Portuguese players to him, which eventually leads to an easy switch out from Fabian to Ferran Torres on Spain's right flank, with 7 Portuguese players concentrated on the opposite half of the pitch. His aforementioned ability to make quick movements is vital higher up the pitch as well, as we can see in the image. Pedri draws the Kosovan player towards him with a move towards the player on the ball before darting in behind him and leaving him in his wake. This has the potential to be vital for Spain, given that they are likely to come up against teams who will sit deep and defend. Pedri's ability to potentially draw players out of these defensive blocks and create space to run into could be key to breaking them down. Another example of his ability to carry the ball forward over long distance is shown here, as he's also then able to play in Torres for a good chance. Note how he's again drawn players towards him, which creates space for Torres to run into. This is another vital aspect which Spain can utilise, especially in moments of transition, as Pedri can help them get up the pitch rapidly. The 18-year-old is likely to keep it simple in terms of passing, playing short, quick passes to his teammates around him while also having the vision and ability to hit slightly more direct passes when needed to. And that example can be seen here, where Pedri notices Alvaro Morata's run into the box and plays a perfect pass into his path, but the on loan Juventus striker was unable to capitalise. So for Harshal's conclusion, looking at Spain's squad for the tournament, it is striking to see the lack of creative playmakers in the list. This from a side which famously played without a striker for many matches around their 2010 World Cup triumph, with the likes of Xavi, Andres Iniesta, Cesc Fabregas, David Silva, Santi Cazorla and Juan Mata among others featuring heavily during this time. Pedri could very well turn out to be the difference maker for the Spanish squad in that respect, while he will definitely be a huge weapon during offensive transitions as he can easily carry the ball upfield before finding teammates in space. We do not expect Luis Enrique to include him in his starting lineup, but he is certainly ready to contribute whenever needed, and this could be a tournament where we could see a true star emerge if he gets enough playing time. And unfortunately, that wraps up this scout report in the form of a tactical analysis on Pedri, the Wonderkid, and what he can do for Spain at the Euros. My name is RDF, it's been a pleasure recording this video for you guys, and don't forget, if you are new or you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button, most importantly like the video, and also you can leave a comment if you have any recommendations or any feedback. I will speak to you soon, stay safe.